que llega no se ayuda.
¿Qué mierda está pasando con el mundo?
Oh yeah, that's a good question actually. What the hell is going on with the world, guys? Welcome to the channel, and this is going to be my review of the Eternaut, or as we call it in Argentina, where the comic in which this Netflix series is based on it's called the Eternauta, El Eternauta, the Eternaut. Eternaut, like astronaut, but Eternaut is the man that travels across the ether itself, right? Yeah, that's pretty badass. Anyway, it is a series based on the Argentine comic from the 50s, so it's not something new. The Argentine comic was written by Osterheld, is it? The last name of this man? 1957, if I remember correctly. And it is, there it is. Hector Osterheld is a man that wrote the comic, drawn by Francisco Solano Lopez. Osterheld actually has a very tragic story himself, very much similar to the story of the Eternaut, the man that defies, right? The man that presents himself as the resistance. He himself and his 4 daughters ended up getting disappeared by the Argentine military junta. So a man that in many ways lived in the way in which his characters behaved in his work. But the Eternaut itself, the comic is actually very interesting. All of a sudden, you have 4 friends that are playing cards in the house of one of them, and all of a sudden power goes down, and after that they realize that they hear cars crashing, and there's snow in Buenos Aires in summer that is actually impossible, but nonetheless there it is. The thing is that this is a very deadly snow, because the moment a little bit of that snow actually touches you, even a single flake of that snow touches you, you die instantly. So the only way in which our brave heroes are allowed to go out is covered completely. That's why you have the more emblematic image of the Eternaut is himself with a gas mask in the snowy environment. And that's where it goes from. It goes from there. You see, it ends up being more of other threats that end up popping up, but I don't want to spoil it for you. I think it's absolutely and completely worth your time. I actually had the pleasure of having the director of photography of the Eternaut for my channel. We talked for my preparedness channel. Survival and preparedness is actually what I do for a living, writing, consulting, and YouTubing as well. If you want to learn more about that stuff, yeah, those are the channels in both English and Spanish that I have. Unfortunately, I had a technical problem with the audio, but it was a great conversation. He was telling me so much about how he actually follows my survival channel in Spanish, and a lot of the things he ended up adapting for the Eternaut, he picked up from the different videos that I do, in terms of stuff like in weapons and what would be a typical gun for someone in this part of the world and that age group, as well as some of the other things, little Easter eggs here and there. So it was a very cool conversation that we had. But he was talking about so much work. People don't understand how much work goes, especially when there's so much. They did use like LED screens and whatnot, but lots of natural, practical effects. Stuff like the scene where they start this actual basement. This is the basement of the house of the father of the director of photography that I spoke with. It's his father's house, who happens to be a bit of a prepper himself. So all of this stuff that seems like prepper-ish, it's actually real. It's from this guy's house in his basement, and his father is an actual prepper. So all of those things, you know, I'm so lucky to have that conversation. Super interesting. Then what else can we say about the series? Ricardo Darín is maybe one of the best known actors in Argentina. Of course, not really nearly as known around the world, but dude is one of those guys that you can watch a movie of him staring at a wall for a couple hours and you still, oh yeah, that's it still manages to be engaging because it is that sort of personality. So that's already Ricardo Darín is this guy right there, right? Ricardo Darín is the Juan Salvo, the Eternaut himself. Guys, worth watching. I don't want to spoil it for you. It is a series that is definitely worth your time. And as far as I know, based on our conversation, season 2 is pretty much confirmed. So, and it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take some time. They still have to do it, and I don't even next year maybe at some point, or yeah, eventually at some point there's gonna be a season 2. That's pretty much confirmed, folks. That's gonna be all for now. The Eternaut. See you next time. Take care.